Hello folks, in this video I will talk about the stuff that I didn't like so much at the beginning when I first moved to the Netherlands, but now I start to appreciate more and more. Let's start. The first thing is splitting the bill. Because whenever you go somewhere in the Netherlands with anybody, there's no discussion, you are splitting the bill. So the thing is, at the beginning I thought this was a bit too transactional, but to be honest, I think it's really a good and open way to handle eating and drinking together. I'm Turkish, and in the Turkish culture, usually we kind of keep a low-key account. If a friend, for example, offers to pay for this round of drinks, then I pay for the next one. There might be cases sometimes, for example, you might even turn up resentful because, for example, you offer to pay for a meal, but your friend didn't offer anything back. For example, this might be annoying, and it is really hard to say that to your friend. Dutch people are over that, so they don't have qualms about saying, oh, you owe me this much. I think this is way better. The second thing is the weather. You will hear a lot about the weather is really bad, it's always raining. To be honest, it is raining way less than you think. I think the most upsetting part could be that most days you don't have sunshine. That might be kind of upsetting for some people, but you kind of try to find ways around it. For example, you can get nice light inside, so you have like warm yellow light inside, and you need to take your vitamin supplement, for example D vitamin or like multivitamin. And the thing is, people appreciate the good weather a lot more here. So whenever it is sunny or like slightly nice outside, it's not even that warm, but people are always outside enjoying their drinks or going on parks. It is nice to see, so you kind of like in like a good mood collectively, and that kind of is nice. I never thought I would end up liking the culture around the weather, at the least. Actually, it is better that the summers are not so hot here. Other thing that I start to appreciate more and more is low context culture. So the thing is, there's something called low context versus high context cultures. So in some cultures, in the high context cultures, for example, you need to understand a lot from the context and from the general aura. Many things are left implicit. In the Netherlands, it is basically the opposite. You don't rely so much on the context. So whenever you want something, you need to say it out loud. For example, in Turkey, I might just look at the waiter and like a waiter will understand I want him to come over, or her. But here you need to say, could you please come and order? If you don't, for example, waiters can continue to ignore you, but they don't think that's like, it's not something that is rude, because they think in their minds, I think, this is my interpretation, they think if somebody needs something, they will tell me. So that took me a long time to understand, and vice versa. So for example, yeah, so if you need something, if you want something, don't beat around the bush and say in words to the person that you want something from what you want. Of course, being friendly and nice goes a long way, but yeah, don't get offended if people are not getting the clues on whether like you don't want to do something or you want something, or yeah, you don't enjoy something. You need to say it out loud. And I do start to appreciate this a bit more because I just say what I want instead of trying to be indirect. And because in my culture, it is considered more polite if you are indirect rather than direct. Being direct means it's not always looked nicely upon, so especially for females. But here, that's not the case. Another thing that I start to appreciate is stores and bakeries and cafes. Most of them are closing at 6 or 7 at the latest. So the thing is, that was really annoying for me at the beginning. So I was like, I will go to a store, for example, like clothing store or something like that. They will be closed like at Monday after 6. But more and more realize that is just part of the Dutch culture around work. So the thing is, yeah, you work from, let's say 9 to 6 or something like that, but after that you turn it off. So no work afterwards. For example, for my university, I almost never get emails in the evening or on the weekend, which was definitely not the case when I was studying in Turkey. So 6, 7, I think I appreciate that most stores closing at 6 or 7. I start to appreciate because it's part of the healthier work-life balance in the Netherlands. Another thing that I start to appreciate more is that Netherlands is like a very small country. You might feel that it is a bit limiting at first, but the thing is there are two things to realize. Because it's like a concentrated country in a small land, you have lots of variety between cities in terms of the whole attitude and the vibe. For example, you have a job in some city and you want to live in another city, then it's like, so that's not much of a problem because the most long distance is like 2 hours from one end of the Netherlands to another end. So you can choose and combine where you work and where you want to live. For example, for me, I like the vibe of Rotterdam. It's international and it's dynamic, but I work in Tilburg, so it's like a 1 hour commute, and the commute is pretty comfortable as long as there's no delays. And also because it's a very small country, you can always go outside the country to Belgium or to Germany. I do start to appreciate the food culture here. I think Dutch people are usually really practical about their food, and I'm kind of adapting to that. For example, they don't spend much time for their lunch. It's like max 30 minutes. For me, like back in Turkey, it would always be like at least 1 hour because you're gonna sit, eat slowly, etc. But here, like you eat a sandwich or something, or soup, something light. It's practical, it doesn't take so much time, and it doesn't weigh you down because probably you'll be working in the afternoon. So I do appreciate that a bit more. All right, these were the things that I didn't like much at the beginning when I started living in the Netherlands. But as the time went by, I started appreciating more. Thank you for watching and see you next time.